Due to popular demand, I am solving the Microsoft Excel World Championship 2025 finals case, Origami. We had a little community challenge today. I think I won with like 12 minutes. Haven't done the case in a while, but I have good lambdas for it, so I'm just going to kind of speed solve it and then come back at the end and explain the lambdas and what I was doing. I'll explain a bit as we go, but anyway, let's do extract numbers of this. This is just to pull out the row and column I want to drag from the grid. So let's index that grid on that row, that column, copy that down. Then in here, I'm actually going to copy this to anywhere where we have that type of reference first, because that appears in quite a few questions. So let's just grab that and copy it to some of these other questions quickly to set up. That's it. Level 2, we just want to pull out address to contents of this on our map. I've labelled the sheet of paper map. This much from the centre, and I think we want to sum that up. Yes. Next one, folding to the right. Fold address to contents of this on our map. I think the size is always 8. And then what do we want to do? We want to fold it to the right, and let's do index of that on our specified row and column. Okay, level 4, same thing again. Fold address to contents, that's on our map, but the size is given to us in the question this time. I want to fold it that, the direction is also given to us, and then again we should index on this row, this column. Multiple folds, same thing, but we do it through a reduce. Address to contents, this on the map, size is given to us. Want to iterate over each individual arrow, lambda A, V, and then it's fold A, V, pass-throughs are blank, and what's next? Just an index, I think, so that will give us the grid. Index it on this row, this column. There we go. We'll just do level 7 quickly because that's the same thing, but instead of index we do a sum. So yeah, that's level 7. And then level 6 is a bit different, so we want to do fold address to contents, that's on the map, size is that, folding it this way, and we want to sum up a given section, and the section is there. I think that's it. Yep. And then it's got to do the bonuses. What is the sum of the main diagonal? Equals m unit 256. That's the dimensions of the map times the map, and let's wrap that with sum. 4 central cells. That's section of the map, and we want the middle 4 cells, and we need to sum it as well. Okay, bonus 3, largest sum of a rectangle, max of by rectangle map. We want to sum in a 1 by 5, and by rectangle the map sum a 5 by 1. Okay, bonus 4, continually fold left to right, so reduce map. Let's do a sequence of 1 just to get our setup right. Lambda A V, fold A V, fold A to the right. That's going to fold the map, and then over here I should have some numbers. Yeah, so I just want to take those numbers. So let's say take from there minus columns of A over 2. So yes, and then I just want to fold it a bunch of times. So 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. So now I've got 4 left. So I need the sum of that. And hopefully that's the right answer. Let's copy exact formula. Final one, what is the center of the only 3 by 3 square that contains numbers 1 to 9? So I can say by rectangle map function lambda A, and then I want and A equals sequence of 3 by 3, and then what I want 3, 3, and I should get a bunch of trues or falses there. So let's wrap it in a minus minus. That looks good. Let's search for a 1. Couldn't find it. Let's do by values. It's there. Whoops, didn't want to do that. So let's make it bright red. Format this whole thing. And I want the cell in the center of the 1x9 grid. So it's here. So here's our 1x9 grid. The cell in the center is K34. K34. Okay, so that's how I could solve it so quick. Let's talk about these lambdas. When I build lambdas, I try to think of like general cases and everything that could be asked about them. So the first kind of lambda I have is, given a cell address, what could you ask about it? So you'd have a grid, a cell address. First thing is what's in that cell address. So that's address to contents of this cell in this map, for example. It's going to give me back that 36. But I could also be asked what's from F4 to G6. So I could specify that in standard notation. And this basically works just like an indirect. But if I wasn't given the G6 there, I could specify what height and width I want. So that's the other arguments to the lambda. So the height is 3 and the width is 2. So that will give me that grid back. And I can specify any grid size here. If I omit the width, it assumes I want a square, so it makes the width the same as the height. And then this last argument is from center. So if I said from center, it's saying, okay, make sure that 36 is in the center. Obviously, if I'm picking a single cell, this from center only really works with odd numbers. So 5, 36 will be in the center. 1, it would just give me back what I have. I could also specify 2 odd numbers. So I could say 3 and 5. So then I get a 5x3 rectangle with 36 in the middle, which corresponds to, you know, whatever it is, this in my grid. So that's really useful. Obviously, this doesn't work nicely with even numbers. But if you wanted it from the center, you wouldn't need it to. But you could also be asked about other shapes, you know, like this, and this then becomes more like path finding distance stuff. So for that, I kind of have RCs within range. Here's my start. Here's my range is going to be 2, and then I have a distance function, so I can specify how you calculate distances between these cells. So that's a bit more complicated, but it means I can do any shape like what's within, cell F4 in that shape or whatever shape I want. So that's how I was able to use these address to contents to say address to contents of this on the map, but the size is 7, and that HY123 is this 1, so I want that to be in the center. So I can say from center. And because it's from the center, you'll notice the question is set up so they're all odd numbers. Otherwise, it just wouldn't make sense. So now that 1's in the center there. So that's that lambda. Then another thing you could be asked about pulling out areas of an array is to just pull out a section. You're not given an address. So that section could be this corner, this corner, this corner, this corner, the middle, or it might be this half. So if it's half, we have formulas already. So take from this, 4 columns, for example. That will give me the first 4. So we can pull out based on a number of rows or number of columns, or we can choose certain rows or choose certain columns, or we could exclude certain rows and columns. So I have an exclude columns from this array if I wanted to exclude columns 2, 4, and 10, for example. And I need to put that in an array. So let's just do that manually for a second. Then you see I exclude column 2, 4, and 10. They're not there. So the other one we don't have is section. Section, I could say I want the middle cells, I want the middle 4 cells. So that's going to look at this grid and say, okay, there's the middle 4 cells. So I could get the middle 16 cells. The middle, 3 cells wouldn't make any sense, so it always defaults to rounding up to the nearest square number if I want the middle of an array. If I had 9, this defaults to 16, but if I had an odd-sized array, 11, 11 for example, then we should be able to get a 9x9 grid, and it does work. Then it does give me the middle, which is now actually there. That's section, and then I also have quadrant directions. So I could specify that as like BL is bottom left. So, and let's remove this middle cells argument for a second. So if I do that, I'm saying I want the bottom left section. So bottom left is here, and it will always half the array. So we are getting that at the moment. And you'll notice that is exactly 1 quadrant of the array. Instead of BL, that's bottom left, I could say DL for down left, and it will still pull it out, or I could give it an arrow. So these are quite flexible. I can just give it most inputs. So if I said I want down, it will give me that whole bit. That's just like take. So I mean, it's fine. I can use this or take, or I could do that section, which is here, and so on. But you could also be asked that you only want these 3 down here, for example. So again, I can say quadrant width is 3, and then it'll only give me those 3. So that's a flexible way to pull corners. So I used that on the question 6. So here I said section, and then I gave it the arrow of the section I want. And I didn't need to specify how many rows or columns because it always will default to halving everything if those arguments are not supplied. So that's like the pulling out information from a grid lambdas. The next one is folding. So if I say fold this, and again this takes like right or a arrow or DL for down left or whatever. So if I fold it right, I had to make a decision when I made these lambdas. Do I leave this blank bit of the grid in? Because if you were to actually fold a piece of paper, I have a tissue here, and I folded it like this, and then if I was to do a diagonal fold, that doesn't kind of work. I'd only be folding, you know, a small piece. So we have to have like that blank array here in the grid so that I could then fold diagonally or whatever it might be. So if I was to say fold again, and let's do top left, for example, it would then fold on this whole grid, even these empty arrays. Now, the good thing is I can actually fold on odd-sized arrays. So these are all squares, but if I had, if I just said, for example, let's just get our arrows down because it's going to be easier for me to work with. Arrows like that. Let's say fold this array, let's just take a little bit of it, that and down, then it will only fold that section even though it's not square. And I've made these lambdas work. Let's fold the whole grid again to the right to make it simple. The next argument in my folding lambda is pass-through characters. So if I said my pass-through characters were, I don't know, 31, 41, 51, like so, well, those then act like windows. So in this end, 30, 40, 50, 60, they remain there because this bit that folds, let's put it a different colour, folds over, but they act like they're invisible. So I retain the original grid under there and just fold everything else onto the top of those. So that allows me to specify pass-through characters, and I needed to do that in the diagonal one. So if I just show you this multiple folding example here, these yellow cells here, when you fold to the right, you're folding like blank spaces on top of them, so the grid should remain what they were before, instead of becoming zeros. So in the final question, I had to add that my pass-through characters in this folding lambda were blanks. But yes, as I said, I like to make my lambdas general, so I can add any pass-through characters. Another thing I wanted to be able to do is do partial folds. So I have this lines to fold. So if I was to fold only one line, I'd be folding this line onto the top of this line. So the 2 line disappears, the 1 line is folded over. I can do 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, whatever. And I can even overfold, so I could fold 7 lines. So I'm folding these 7 all the way over to here, so you see they move. Now, with this like overfolding, I did consider, do I want to H-stack across the bits that are now missing? So this, you know, folding from here over, these 3 would replace these 3, so they fold on top. And at the minute, that's the only grid I show. So these flip and replace those, but this stuff should also come over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, like that. So that's what my whole grid should look like. But then I'd lose this blank space, and I kind of need this blank space to do multiple folds. And for me, it's better to leave it in than take it out. Do I want to add this overfold, retain overfold array to the lambda? I'm not sure. I did do it when I was originally building, but then I didn't like it, so I reverted back to this. Anyway, that's that. And let's just show you a diagonal fold to maybe make it a bit more interesting. So I could fold only 1 line. Obviously, folding 1 line doesn't change anything. Let's fold 3 lines. So I fold this 1 there. So this is basically the line I'm folding on. Let's just unhide that. So that stays where it is, and then the 2, 11, and 1 will fold over and come there, and this line is retained. Fold 4, 5, 6, whatever, and I can actually fold, you know, overfold. Let's do 12. Well, actually, let's do a few more. Let's do like 15. So I'm taking the 15th diagonal in, which is this 60 line here, and I'm folding everything over to that. Again, in reality, all of this stuff left of the line would actually overfold the grid to here. And again, I considered whether I H-stack and V-stack that stuff. It was a bit messy, and then I end up with arrays that are much bigger. I'd have to drop off this this half of the array to make it the same size. It becomes a mess, so I decided the question will probably never come up, so I'll leave it as it is because it's clean. So yeah, that's that. I hope you enjoyed.